So now we're going to look at how to determine various facts about elements from the periodic table. First of all, the atomic number is used to identify an element. It's unique to every element, like a fingerprint is unique to a person. It is the number of protons. So when you look at the periodic table, the atomic number is usually a whole number above the symbol of the element, and that number is how many protons that element has. Only silicon has 14 protons. If you change the number of protons, then you change the element. So protons remain constant. They cannot be changed. Atoms are electrically neutral, so that means that the number of protons are going to equal the number of electrons. For example, hydrogen is atomic number 1, so it has 1 proton and 1 electron. Carbon has this symbol here from the periodic table, and it has atomic number 6. Which we can see right here above the C. Carbon is going to have 6 protons and 6 electrons. Okay, if you have atomic number 11, what element is that? The atomic number identifies your element. So if we look at a periodic table, we can find that atomic number 11 is this element right here, sodium. Atomic number 11, what element is it? It is Na. From the periodic table. An element is found to have 23 protons. What is it? Well, we'll look at our periodic table, and if we have 23 protons, then it must be element number 23, which is vanadium. So element number 23 is vanadium. How many electrons does an atom of chlorine have? Well, we're going to look at the atomic number, and that's going to tell us that we have 17 protons. And because it's a neutral element, that is also how many electrons there are. So protons equal electrons. So there are 17 electrons in chlorine. Now, an ion is formed when an atom gains or loses an electron. Notice we cannot change the number of protons, but we can lose or gain numbers of electrons. The ion is no longer electrically neutral, and so it is not called an atom anymore. So how many electrons does the ion Be plus 2 have? So here's beryllium, and normally it's going to have 4 protons and 4 electrons. However, now because it has a plus 2 charge, that means that it's going to lose 2 electrons. So if we lose 2 electrons instead of 4 electrons, we only have, and if you compare 4 protons and 2 electrons, it gives us an overall charge of plus 2. Mass number is going to be the number of protons plus the number of neutrons, because those both are in the nucleus of the atom, and that makes up the bulk of the mass of the atom. All the particles in the nucleus, and it identifies the isotope, the mass number does. We use relative comparisons of the masses of atoms. The unit of comparison is called the atomic mass unit, or AMU. 1 AMU is equal to 1/12 of the mass of a carbon-12 atom, which contains 6 protons and 6 neutrons. Therefore, the mass of one single proton or one single neutron is 1 AMU. So, in summation, the mass number is equal to protons plus neutrons, or the mass number is the atomic number plus the neutrons, since the atomic number is how many protons there are. So how would you solve for the number of neutrons? The mass number minus the atomic number would equal the number of neutrons. For example, if the atomic number equals 8 and the number of neutrons equals 8, what is the mass number? 8 plus 8 gives us a mass number of 16. What element is that? Well, to know what element it is, we have to use the atomic number to identify it on the periodic table. When we look on the periodic table, element number 8 is oxygen. Okay, what if we have a mass number of 29 and we have 14 protons? How many neutrons are there? Well, if we take the mass number minus the number of protons, so 29 minus 14 equals 15 neutrons. What element is this? If I wanted to know what element is, I have to look at the number of protons. So I'm looking for element number 14 on the periodic table. Element 14 is silicon, Si. So silicon, Si. So for neutral atoms, the atomic number, number of protons, and number of electrons are all equal to each other. The trick for this is Ape Man. Atomic number, protons, electrons are the same. Mass number equals atomic number plus neutrons. Mass is atomic number plus neutrons. Look at the key symbol for silicon. Is the mass number given on the periodic table? And we are not given a mass number. We are given something called an average atomic mass. So this decimal value here is an average of all of the isotopes that exist in nature for silicon. We'll get into how to calculate average mass later.